I had a guy message me on Snap last night. He said, "Bro, you see, I always wanted to read a lot of books about business, self-improvement, etc. Although I excel in academics and reading, I can't bring myself to focus when reading. In other words, I want to learn and get more knowledge, but I can't bring myself to hold a book and read, read, and read. So I want to know if you ever went through such a phase once, and you broke through it." To tell you my life when it came to reading, dude, I haven't read a book throughout all the way from elementary school to high school. I've not read a single book, none of that fucking Romeo and Juliet, none of that bullshit, bro. Like, everything was like Google searched if I had to, whatever. I couldn't read a damn book. Until after high school, my brother suggested a book. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try reading. It was very difficult, okay? And it was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, whatever. It's a very simple book. Like, that's like a book. If someone's like, oh, I read books, I read How to Win Friends and Influence People, people go like, okay, this guy doesn't read books. He only read one book ever, if that's the book he names, right? There's also like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, 48 Laws of Power. People say they've read those books. They've never read books. They don't know much, okay? The reason I suggest How to Win Friends and Influence People as the first book is because you see instant results. Once you see instant results, you get hooked. The instant results through a book is what makes you actually continue reading, right? One thing it says like smile to people. I start smiling and another one was like call people by the first name. Started calling people by the first name. Dude, I was able to just get whatever I want. So when they say call people by their name, for example, I was always calling people at my gym by their names. I was calling people whatever. I've built a lot of relationships just by calling people by their name. And the reason is because that's a they say in the book, that's a language people know and fully understand. Their name, that's music to them, right? Because it's them. So once you see instant results through a book, you start to read more and more books. You start to get addicted. Now, that was the first book I've ever actually read. Now I read completely different. Now that I've read through a bunch more books, I start to read with my eyes. I read with my ears. So I have an audiobook as well. So I drop already like double the amount of money on a book because I have to buy the audio version and the physical version. And then on top of that, I write down notes. So it actually also takes me 2 times the time of that book. But you get all the fucking information. You get most of the information as well as it's on your phone, you know? Like, I've been on phone calls once and I'm like, fuck, like, what do I do in this situation? Oh, I remember this one book, this, that, but how did it go again? I fucking on speaker, yeah, listening to this guy, fucking fighting that message, whatever. Reading what I have to read from that book and then using it. And it works. Like, it is genuinely just the books that work is what gets you to read the books. But yeah, that's my answer. Find books that you see results right away. There's not many, but How to Win Friends and Influence People is definitely suggested for people to read.